You've been taught to say thank you, but no one told you that gratitude is a frequency, not a feeling, not a mindset, a signal, one that rewrites the math of your reality before your eyes even register the shift. Most people think gratitude is the dessert you have after the meal arrives, a polite response to what's already happened, a way to cope with what is. But that's not gratitude. That's resignation dressed in spiritual language. Real gratitude, the kind that bends matter and collapses probability, doesn't wait for conditions to improve. It creates the conditions. It doesn't react to reality. It authors it. And here's what they don't tell you in the self-help books or the Sunday sermons. Gratitude has a measurable frequency. It vibrates, it hums, and when you tune into it genuinely, cellularly, not as performance but as presence, the field around you reorganizes, not metaphorically, literally. Your heart emits an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your body. When you feel gratitude, that field becomes coherent, ordered, powerful. It syncs your brain waves, steadies your nervous system, and broadcasts a signal into the quantum field that says, more of this. You've probably heard people say like attracts like, or you attract what you are. And maybe you rolled your eyes, maybe you tried it and got frustrated when nothing changed, but here's the part they leave out. You can't fake the frequency. You can't think your way into it. Gratitude isn't a thought, it's a state, and your body knows the difference between performing gratitude and embodying it. The universe knows the difference too. Let's start with what most people do. They wake up, they scroll, they stress, they move through their day like they're late for an appointment they didn't want in the first place. And somewhere in the back of their mind, they know they're supposed to be grateful. So they list things, health, family, a roof, food, the basics. They say the words, they write them in a journal with a nice pen, they post them with a sunrise photo, and then they go right back to worrying about money, obsessing over what went wrong, rehashing arguments that happened 3 years ago, or feeling jealous of people who seem to have it easier. And nothing changes, because gratitude, when it's intellectual, when it's a checklist or a spiritual chore, doesn't carry voltage. It doesn't move energy. It's like trying to charge your phone by staring at the outlet. But when gratitude becomes embodied, when it drops from your head into your chest and floods your cells, when you feel it in your bones, your hands, your breath, you become a different instrument. And the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. You become a tuning fork. And reality, because it is not solid, because it is frequency and probability held together by observation and expectation, begins to match your tone. This isn't poetry. This is physics. Quantum mechanics shows us that particles exist in a state of potential until they are observed. The act of observation collapses the wave function and determines the outcome. But here's the twist. The observer is not neutral. You are not a passive witness. The state you are in when you observe shapes what materializes. Your emotions, your beliefs, your frequency, they're not separate from the experiment. They are the experiment. And gratitude, true gratitude, is one of the highest, most coherent frequencies a human being can generate. It's not higher than love. It is love, focused, present, alive. Let's talk about what happens in your body when you feel gratitude. Not the fake kind. Not the kind you muster because someone told you to. But the kind that wells up when you watch light move across water, or when you realize you're still here, still breathing, still capable of feeling anything at all. That kind. Your heart rate variability increases. That's the measure of the time between your heartbeats, and it's one of the most accurate indicators of nervous system health and emotional resilience. When your HRV is high, your body is flexible, adaptive, calm. When you feel genuine gratitude, your heart rhythm becomes coherent. It synchronizes, and that coherence sends a signal to your brain that says, we are safe, we are whole, we are enough. Your brain responds, it releases dopamine, serotonin, the same neurochemicals that antidepressants try to mimic. But this isn't synthetic. This is your body remembering what it was built to do. Your prefrontal cortex lights up, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, emotional regulation, and perspective. You literally become smarter, more resourceful, more present, and your electromagnetic field, that invisible bubble of energy your heart generates, it expands, it becomes more ordered. Studies from the HeartMath Institute show that when you're in a state of gratitude or appreciation, the frequency your heart emits is detectable by the people and even the machines around you. You become a signal, and the field responds. If this message resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and join a community of awakened souls walking the same journey of spiritual alignment. Now let's go deeper. Let's talk about the quantum field, the space between things, the emptiness that isn't empty, it's pure potential. Every possibility, every outcome, every version of your life, it exists there as probability, not fixed, not determined, just possible. And what collapses those possibilities into form, into experience, into the life you wake up to every morning? You do. Through the frequency you emit, through the beliefs you carry, through the emotional signature you broadcast, consciously or not, every single second. Most people broadcast fear, lack, doubt, frustration, resentment, not because they're bad people, but because that's what they've been conditioned to do. The world teaches you to scan for threats, to focus on what's missing, to brace for disappointment, and your nervous system, wired for survival, agrees. So you spend your life in a low-frequency loop. And the quantum field, which has no agenda, no morality, no preference, simply mirrors it back. But gratitude breaks the loop. Gratitude is a pattern interrupt. It's a frequency that says, I am not in survival, I am in creation. And when you hold that frequency, not for 5 seconds while you write in your journal, but as a baseline, as the lens through which you move through your day, the field has no choice but to reorganize around you. Think of it like this. You're standing in a dark room with a flashlight. Where you point the light, that's what becomes visible. That's what becomes real to you. Most people point their light at problems, at what's broken, at what's missing, at what might go wrong. And so that's all they see, that's all they experience, not because that's all there is, but because that's where the light is. Gratitude is the choice to point the light somewhere else, at what's working, at what's already here. At the fact that your heart is beating without you asking it to, that the sun rose again, that you have the capacity to feel, to choose, to change. And when you keep the light there, when you stop jerking it back to the shadows every 5 minutes, something shifts. The room doesn't change, but what you see does, and what you see shapes what you experience. And what you experience over time becomes your reality. But here's where people get stuck. They think gratitude means ignoring problems, pretending everything is fine when it's not, bypassing pain with toxic positivity. And that's not what this is. You can acknowledge what's hard and still choose to attune to what's possible. You can grieve and still be grateful you can feel. You can want more and still honor what's here. Gratitude isn't denial, it's clarity. It's seeing the whole picture instead of just the part that hurts. And when you do that, when you stabilize in that frequency, your brain rewires. Neuroplasticity is real. The neurons that fire together wire together. When you practice gratitude, not as a mental exercise, but as an emotional state, you build new neural pathways. You train your brain to default to possibility instead of fear, to connection instead of separation, to trust instead of control. And slowly, sometimes faster than you'd expect, your baseline shifts. What used to feel like effort becomes automatic. What used to feel fake becomes the most real thing you know. You stop needing things to be perfect to feel grateful. You stop waiting for the big win, the right relationship, the healed wound. You find it now, in the breath, in the choice, in the fact that you're still here, still trying, still open, and that's when the magic happens. Not because the universe rewards good behavior, but because you've become a match for a different timeline. You've tuned your instrument to a different station, and the reality that matches that frequency, it was always there. You just couldn't see it. You weren't calibrated to it. Let's get practical. Let's talk about how you practice this. Because knowledge without application is just entertainment. And you didn't come here to be entertained. You came here to shift. First, stop performing gratitude. Stop listing things you think you should be grateful for while your body feels nothing. The universe doesn't care about your journal entry. It cares about your vibration. So instead of writing, "I'm grateful for my health," pause. Close your eyes. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the air filling your lungs. Let your body remember what it feels like to be alive. Let that feeling spread. That's gratitude. That's the frequency. Second, practice it when it's hard. Anyone can be grateful when life is easy. The real test is when everything feels like it's falling apart. When you're scared. When you're angry. When you don't know what's next. That's when you need it most. Not to bypass the pain, but to anchor yourself in something real while the storm passes. Find one thing, one small thing, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the fact that you have a bed to sleep in tonight, the person who texted you to check in. Hold that. Let it be enough, not forever, just for now. Third, let it change your actions. Gratitude isn't passive. It's not just a feeling you swim in and then go back to the same patterns. When you're truly grateful, you move differently. You speak differently. You choose differently. You stop tolerating what drains you. You stop chasing what doesn't want you. You start honoring the life you have by living it fully. By taking care of your body, by protecting your energy, by saying yes to what lights you up and no to what doesn't. Because here's the secret they don't tell you. Gratitude isn't about getting more. It's about realizing you already have enough. And that realization is the most powerful frequency in the universe. Because when you feel enough, you stop operating from lack. You stop grasping. You stop forcing. And in that space, in that exhale, life meets you. Not because you earned it, but because you finally made room for it. You've been trying to change your life by changing your circumstances, by getting the job, by meeting the person, by fixing the thing. And none of it worked, not because you're broken, but because you were trying to solve an internal problem with an external solution. You were trying to fill a frequency gap with matter, and matter can't do that. Only frequency can. So what happens when you stabilize in gratitude, when it's not a practice, but a way of being? Everything starts to feel different, not because the world changed, but because you did. You notice things you used to miss, synchronicities, patterns, doors that were always open, but you were too busy staring at the ones that were closed. People start showing up differently, not because they changed, but because you're no longer projecting your lack onto them. You're seeing them clearly, and they feel that, and they respond. Opportunities appear, not out of nowhere. They were always there, but now you can see them. Because your nervous system isn't in survival mode anymore, it's in creation mode. And creation sees possibility. It sees paths. It sees options that fear can't access. Your health improves. Your sleep gets deeper. Your energy stabilizes. Because your body finally feels safe. And when your body feels safe, it stops hoarding resources for the next disaster. It starts healing. It starts thriving. And your reality, the one you wake up to every morning, it starts to reflect the frequency you've been holding. Not overnight, not in some dramatic movie montage, but gradually, quietly, undeniably. You look around one day and realize your life looks different, feels different, and you can't even remember when it shifted. You just know it did. The cipher of inner stillness is a poetic journey through the hidden geometry of peace. Blending mystical philosophy, Jungian psychology, and cosmic symbolism, this ebook reveals that silence is not the absence of life, it is its source. Discover this and other codices that transform the way you see the universe through the link in the description. That's the frequency of gratitude. It's not magic, it's mechanics. It's the way the universe works. You are not separate from it. You are part of it, an expression of it. And the signal you send out, the frequency you hold, it ripples into the field, and the field ripples back. So stop waiting for life to give you a reason to be grateful. Be grateful and watch life give you reasons. Stop saying, "I'll be happy when." Be happy now with what is, and watch the when take care of itself. Stop thinking gratitude is something you do after you get what you want. Make it what you are, and watch what you want start finding you. This isn't about pretending. It's not about faking it till you make it. It's about remembering that you are not a victim of reality. You are a participant in it, a co-creator, and the frequency you choose, the one you embody, the one you breathe into and live from, it matters. It's not the only thing that matters, but it's the thing you can control, and it's the thing that changes everything else. So here's your invitation, not your assignment, not your burden, your invitation to stop arguing with what is, to stop resisting this moment in hopes of a better one, to let yourself feel grateful, not because everything is perfect, but because you're here, still breathing, still capable, still open to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, the life you've been trying so hard to force is already trying to find you. And all you have to do is match its frequency. Gratitude is that frequency, not the shallow kind, the deep kind, the kind that doesn't need a reason, the kind that is the reason, the kind that changes your cells, your thoughts, your breath, your field, the kind that makes you a magnet instead of a chaser, a signal instead of noise. And when you become that, when you stabilize there, you won't need to convince anyone that this is real. They'll feel it when they're near you. They'll see it in the way you move through the world, and some of them, the ones who are ready, they'll start to ask, not what you did, but what you became. And you'll smile, because you'll know you didn't become anything. You just remembered. You remembered that you were never broken. You were just tuned to the wrong station, and all it took was gratitude to turn the dial. If this resonated with something deep inside you, if you felt it in your chest instead of just hearing it in your ears, then honor that. Like this video, not for me, not for the algorithm, but as a signal to yourself that you're ready to shift, that you're done pretending you don't have the power to change your frequency. Subscribe if you want more of this, if you want to keep remembering, if you want to keep waking up, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Not to fix them, but to remind them that they're not alone, that this is real, that the frequency of gratitude isn't just a concept, it's a doorway, and it's been open this whole time. To celebrate your arrival, we've prepared a gift, a guide to help you navigate your inner transitions with clarity and elegance. Alignment, 7 Phases of Consciousness Awakening. Download your copy from the link in the description.